Hello, we're back. Another Wednesday debate.
We're back.
Hello, everybody.
From outer space.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've had a few developments since last we met. We had Mr. Tim Seavey get married. Yeah, there you are. There you are. Congratulations.
Mr. Tim Seavey. It's got a good ring to it.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I think, I don't know. What'd you
Matt
do,
Shapiro practiced the law and the kazoo equally well.
I couldn't have said it better myself, Tim. Congratulations,
What have you been up to,
buddy.
Jared? How was your summer?
All right. I turned.
Jared has been getting more flexible.
Yeah?
Turned 44 yesterday.
Congratulations, Jared.
Yeah. Another year older. Excellent.
And you published a textbook right before your birthday.
He's been around the sun
We got
44
ourselves,
times.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So got a public speaking textbook now available on
Allegedly.
called Composing Speeches. It's kind of like a beta version edition. You know what I mean? It's called the first edition, but I don't know. I think the real first edition will come out in a few months, but you can get it. You can check it out. Yeah.
And I've heard it incorporates some AI speech coaching. So there's just all kinds of morsels of cool coming our way.
Yeah. Anybody watching? If you're
Where can you buy it?
No. Let us know, all right? Because we got what you need, everybody, all right? But today, what we're talking about is political campaigns. Now, I keep wanting to say campaign finance reform because that just kind of trips off the tongue, but that's not really the full topic. That's really only 1/3 of the topic. And when I say the topic, like just anybody who doesn't know, we're talking about the NFA LD topic for 2022-2023. Yeah.
Done. All year long. Same topic.
All year long. So
Yep.
so from August until April.
From the first round to the final round at the national tournament.
There you go. And so I think what we're going to do is we're going to kind of walk through, like, let's say that you just learned the topic right now.
Yep.
Where do you start? What do you do? How do you kind of unpack this?
I start crying generally and avoid my partner for like 3 days.
The first step is self-loathing. Then there is shame.
Yeah. Right.
Well, it's
Then-
a three-parter. Yeah, like as they tend to do with NFALD, they don't half-heart their topics. It is a meaty one with a lot of potential branches.
Words.
Right?
Yeah, let me see if I could. Oh man, I
Bunch
can't
of
even
words.
get the whole thing on one of these.
Can't even
posts.
get it all in there.
Yeah. So, oh no, it's not even.
I can read it out.
Yeah, we're gonna have to read it. We're gonna have to read it because it's too
big.
long to
Only
put
Tim
into
has to read it.
letters. All right.
Yeah. Okay.
So here we go. I got it.
You got it. Okay.
Okay. Resolved. The United States federal government should substantially increase restrictions on political speech in the United States in one or more of the following areas: political communication, campaign spending, interest groups.
So that was interest groups, campaign spending, political communication. Was that it?
Yeah.
All right.
I love that one.
All right.
Okay.
So
We've talked about little pieces of this at a time. We've never really attacked each. Do we want to go a branch at a time?
yeah. I think that'd be good because that's how I prepped.
Okay, so campaign speech. Campaign speech. We have talked about that a bit, right? When the Republican National Party or the RNC pulled out of any future public debates.
Okay.
So when we talked about presidential debates, they said they're not going to take part in it. Don't know if that was something they can go back on for the next election, but it was
a
all kinds of
presidential
things that they
debate?
wanted to. Yeah.
Wow.
Because that's what I would immediately think of when I think campaign communication.
It would
There's
be
a million facets.
Campaign
of that.
spending.
Oh my God. It'd be like a debate.
Is that what you're saying?
Debate case. It's like an inception. It's like a meta debate. Like we're oh man.
You're blowing Jared's mind over here, Tim.
I'm liking that. I like it. I do.
That would be the direction that I would go. Something about why political debates are worse for democracy, why we shouldn't have them, and just like tear down why post, like the
I don't know,
format
like,
of debates
or
and the
you
way the debates work right now is balderdash. Excuse my French.
or you can introduce formal rules. You know what I mean? Like for
Balderdash.
like think about that. Think about how like you're now defending the activity of formal debate in a formal debate.
Yeah. Well, you can finally start picking it apart, right? And like you can,
oh man,
like it would be a very.
So you know what I really hate about these debates? The judges. You know what I'm saying, Judge? Let's get behind that. I think what we can all agree on is judges suck, and that's why you should vote for us.
oh man.
You're gonna get a 5 vote.
Make it mandatory for candidates to do a debate tournament, not just televised.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Where they have to debate like one at a time instead of it being just like because the current free for all grudge match like Hunger Games style is not even that. Like you think that would at least be the most fun to watch, but it's not even that. Like it doesn't, it's not like a ticket seller.
Everyone's just not breaking the surface tension under their feet, so it's kind of watered down.
Yeah.
You know what?
And they're and debate is the whole in the moment.
We do it. We should do it. Let's contact the campaign for or the committee for presidential debates and say, hey, listen.
Look at this background, bro. You're gonna want us in your corner.
Man, it's happening.
We got some AI tools that will follow their speech. It'll tell them how well they did in their non-inclusive language. No, but so that would be honest my direction. I know that you can go in lots of directions with campaign communication, like marketing, and like you could even start.
None of them say campaign communication. Okay, there's political communication and there's campaign spending. So which one are you talking about?
Oh yeah.
Political communication. That's the first branch.
Okay, that one you should just object on the neg. Like this is overbroad. This is framers abuse, man. I don't even know what this is. Political communication. So are we saying we can't even talk about this in our own round? They're saying we can't even talk about this in our own round. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
according to them, we should all be quiet.
One of those, it does give the government team a huge, or the AF, a huge.
Yeah, if there was any sort of
metricization.
Right. Yeah, and so I think I guess on the AF, maybe if you're try to stay more in the middle of what that means, because the broader that topic is, the more it's like if you went. Although what's funny, it's LD. So no matter what you find, run it. Dig deep in the research, run it, because by the 10th tournament, the judges are like, I don't care that you didn't prepare for them. You've known what they're going to do the whole time. So just
all right. Let me give you a really good thing to do is I go to, instead of going to Google, I go to govtrack.us, and then I put these terms there and see what comes up. And when I put in political communication, I actually really liked the bills that came up. One of the bills was about prohibiting foreign dollars going into political campaigns.
Hey,
see what I'm saying? I think that's a pretty damn.
How is that not campaign spending though?
Yeah, that seems like campaign spending. That doesn't sound like political communication.
No.
Although, Jared, I will tell you this:
they're paying for the advertisement. It's like you're not. The advertisement.
Got it.
Every single campaign spending is a political communication, but not every political communication is a campaign spending.
Right, and so
think about that.
I think what it does is it allows taking down certain messages that might originate from outside the United States in order to kind of screw up with the election. I mean, it's kind of stemming probably from the Russia stuff with Facebook. A good 7 years ago, about how they found a whole bunch of fake accounts that were
in Jared's computer
and stuff like that, and so and. I think that's where it kind of came
in that rusty bathroom basement that he's been transmitting from the Ukraine today.
So you get some interesting stuff there. I think one of the ones to take Matt's funny quip, but I think it's a fair point that political
Jared's
spending
in Ukraine
is
in a basement in a bathroom.
Campaign spending is political communication. Nope, I would slice that immediately. No longer is financing any piece of a campaign counting as free speech, right? And this will kind of blend this into the second topic that is spending, but the whole Citizens United piece saying that campaign donations are protected as an act of free speech, and it is protecting individuals. So those are kind of the two big things that Citizens United did, was said one, corporations are people.
Corporations are people. Yes.
And two, that they are allowed to exercise free speech through campaign donations. So I would sever that and be campaign donations are not the same thing as free speech. Those are not equivalent. and like make some, I don't know, legalese, because you're allowed to legislate in this plan making world of debate. So have something to sever those two.
Yeah, I agree with
effectively
severing,
overturn
but I'd go with
something.
the other direction. I talk about how corporations are not people.
Oh yeah,
Like,
so that's two different things. But like that, the split of the free
Corporations
speech
are people, Jared. That's why we treat them as such.
Well, we actually treat them a lot better than we treat people.
yeah, wholly begging the question, Batman. That's the, like, I had a student and we're gearing up and we're kind of looking at this. I'm like, yeah, you know what? I'd like to talk about Citizens United. I really would. I think, I don't know. It's like maybe the Supreme Court felt like that they were obligated to decide that way. That's fine, but that means the legislature has to act, because, like, an individual can still, like, let's say we sever, let's say we sever those two, right? And then we don't even touch about whether or not campaign finance is free speech, but we focus on just corporations are not people. Individuals can still contribute. You know what I mean? It's like what's happening is with the corporations as people. That means like the rich CEO can donate their personal money to campaign finance, and then they can go to their company and also have that money go to a person's campaign as well. It's like giving additional sort of influence to rich people. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah.
I think, and Matt, correct me if I'm wrong, was it McCain-Feingold that created the requirements or the restrictions around what individuals can donate and what organizations can donate? And because so that's where people end up double dipping, is like, oh, well, this is my personal donation, and then they also give like enormous gifts to like every single member of their family, including like children, and then those children donate it also. Like there's all kinds of instances of that, of like really wealthy people using every member of their family as donors, but then like lumping a bunch of stuff together as an organization, because it's a much higher threshold for an organization, and donating that way as well. Like,
I don't know, Tim, but that sounded good. I believe you, and you should look it up for yourself.
One of those big bills about political finance, but it was like so I think that was packing, where I don't know, one form or another, it allows multiple people to like bundle their donations together, and you can donate as an organization, and it's like a much higher threshold and whatnot. And it gets super shady, right? And so there's an area where then corporations being treated as people and like getting that free speech. I have very limited knowledge into the depths of that, but I know that ends up going a whole lot further. So I would research that in depth and like start looking at the most egregious abuses of that precedent that was set.
So one other thing I found that was like, I need to know more about it, but the title alone was interesting. It was about micro-targeted political ads. And so there's a bill about banning micro-target. I'm like, what the heck is that? That sounds interesting. And so, I think it's, the bill itself talks about how like political electioneering can only be based upon a person's sort of residency, not about other things beyond that. And so like sending them specific text messages or things through certain apps and things like that would be restricted. And so I can't say that I'm like, oh yeah, that's a great idea, but I'm like, that's interesting. I want to learn more about that.
That's like using Facebook would, in my mind, be basically 80% of the way there. The fact is, if you post, like, for instance, your phone number on Facebook, the government, somebody could get your phone number. It says, it's like, here's your picture, hi, and then there's like your name, how you spell it, and
give your phone number to Matt, everybody.
Yeah, do not give me your phone number, and definitely don't give me your address. But no, I mean, people give that information up. So on one hand, like micro-targeting sounds scary, but on the flip side of that, when you think about it, I mean, we're just even thinking about what you type in to your computer. They know everything about you. Like Mark Zuckerberg got paid from someone to buy everything they know about you. So is it weird that the government's like, here's some money, give me the information. I want to send text messages to my will-be followers because I know that they fit the 6 criteria that I need you to do. I mean,
the thing I think by the that title alone, There's something behind it. There's a reason why that got there, and I want to find out what that reason is, and it might turn into a debate case.
A final solution.
Yeah.
Only find those people who are behind it.
And solve it. But yeah, so
right.
I think that's
That is a joke. You should be laughing.
Cool place to start. So that's the finance side of it. We posed a debate case, just a wild, weird one, and we actually won a couple of rounds. It was like our we're going up against a team that's way better than us. Let's do something stupid idea, and it was to limit. And I don't know how would you even enforce it, and like people pushed on that, but it was to limit all campaign spending to $1 million. A campaign, their constituents, nothing like they cannot spend more than $1 million in total on their entire campaign. And the idea would be that they can't just like become a war of dollars.
No, because that would just push the dark. That would push. Look, there's a thing called dark money, and I don't even know what it means. Okay, but I'm pretty sure it means that it means
that I know
that
dark money is a thing.
People are giving campaign money through corporations often. See, the corporation, it looks like it's not a person, but it kind of is a person who's pushing the money somewhere. And yeah, like I don't know, there's ways to get money. There's every person who donates, I'm pretty sure, is like a known public thing almost. At least I think something like that. And the dark money is the campaign money that's not through a person. They want personhood in Citizens United, but they don't want personhood in other ways. And there's ways to funnel money to campaigns without it being disclosed how much. So once you do that, it's not good because it's corruption, which is a whole word. You need to look that definition up. I don't even know what that means, but that's what it causes it.
So I guess I would spend time and effort trying to figure out how to plug holes, but more or less to limit the actual amount of money that can be spent on a campaign, right? Because if there are limits to your ability to contribute to it,
who contributes campaign money to candidates?
Everybody.
How about an interest groups?
Which are the same
Do interest groups? Interest groups it's in the resolution. I'm just bringing up the final comma and interest groups.
Look at that double clutch transition.
Yeah,
right.
Man, that was smooth.
Nice segue.
The people who pay campaign money for political communication are the interest groups. And those are people like, I don't know, interest groups. People who are interested in a certain group.
So,
Mothers for a Better America, right?
No, that's not what it means. That's not how any of this works.
A special interest group.
Okay, so interest groups, let's just cut to the chase. We're talking about
Don't believe anything this guy says.
Super PACs, right? We're like, I mean, I think that's the
right.
most direct line.
Yeah.
That's the most direct line.
Yeah, no, and I was naming one, like Mothers for a Better America. That's one of them. They all have very generic ass basic names that make them sound innocuous, and it's like reasons for a concerned future.
And the interest groups, they're the ones who create the think tanks, who create the legislation, which is used campaign, all kinds of money for that. And that goes to the lobbyists to go to the senators.
He's like, and they're the ones that fund the dark web.
Yeah.
I know it.
And they take dark money in briefcases.
But thinking on the affirmative, like one of the first things I think of when it comes to this, like regulating interest groups, is to say where they're getting their money from. Like they can,
right?
Just like
regular people.
That's like a really low risk policy that you could propose. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, like, I love the Simpsons. There's like Marge was joining the police, and there's some crazy guy there, and he's like, "When do we get the guns?"
Yeah.
And then police sergeant's like, "Listen, I'm not giving you a gun until you tell me."
Yeah.
And like that's what I think about campaign finance or just super PACs. It's kind of like, okay, listen, if you're gonna take in all that money, just tell me who's giving it to you. You know what I mean? God, why is that so unreasonable?
Yeah.
They think, this is why there are people who, we should pay senators more because then hopefully they're not reaching out. Maybe is it impossible to eliminate the desire for more money? Could you pay a senator enough money to not take a bribe.
No.
Like, can you
I
pay
think
me
I-
enough to
I will
not take
give
a
you-
bribe? What?
I will give
Or
you
a president.
50
Whatever.
I will give
I mean,
50
you know.
examples. There are 50 examples of how that does not work, and they are all millionaires, and I know what their job title is,
Yeah.
and they are called
No.
senators. But it's
Or representatives in the House. There's
There
more
are.
of them.
To some degree,
There's
but not as much.
538 examples of despicable, just completely greedy, disgusting human beings. So I feel like the answer. Well, I like where your creative, out of the box thinking is going, Matt. I don't think that. Is
I don't think anything I've said today is unique
No.
in any way
Yeah.
that we didn't already know.
But-
But okay.
Oh,
So
man.
interesting-
Like, I mean, how much sex can we pay for this guy until he gets over his sex addiction?
I told you owe me $350, Jared.
Like, what type of reasoning is this? It's like I was like, we just have to need to satiate his needs.
It's called
No.
the overdose solution.
Yeah.
You have to find the point of overdose.
God.
So yeah, we've got. So there exists this problem, but interest groups don't make it any better. So how? But the thing is, like, people have free speech in the U.S. So how do you start to limit what an interest group can do? I think you have to have like, and I know there exist campaign laws and things, but it feels like
Fascism.
they don't
That's
have-
how we eliminate these people.
There it
the
is.
easy
Okay,
way.
I like this idea.
Let's take a page
group that
out
makes
of everyone
political
else.
Nation is now in a tax class with 95% tax rates, or something, absolutely laughably obscene. Like you tax them to death or something like that. I like that.
Okay, listen, you just sparked an idea for a tax idea. Okay, this is my crazy mind, right? What if your regulation on interest groups is to say that churches now have to pay taxes?
Why was Jared?
Ooh,
You're gonna have
okay,
to give me a
so-
little more analysis because I have no idea what the heck you're talking about.
Okay, yeah, because
Sorry.
because churches are political and they are
And stuff.
We should start taxing them like interest groups.
But what about my church that I created and
What?
pay all my taxes towards?
Yeah,
Nothing.
yeah, because I don't know. I'm
so-
definitely going to spend at least a half hour on that idea.
You are not going to win one ballot in certain parts of the country. Like California, you may win a lot. There's a lot of sin and heathens in this state, but you may not win many votes in other parts of the country. But I do like the idea. It just takes the debate in a very different direction.
Oh, tax the churches.
That's
like it.
I think this year will be spicier than we originally expected it to be.
Because man, all I have to do is prove that churches
Okay.
campaign.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
Go ahead.
do
Finish
that.
the point, Jared.
They campaign.
Mhm.
Woo. All right,
Okay, back to this resolution. I'm looking at the resolution again. All right. Look, it comes to political communication. If you're on the AF, what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to substantially increase restrictions. One way you could do that is making it harder laws on misinformation on the internet. That's one way. What's another way? How about
so I had one. I got
killing anyone who says anything against you? That would be a good law.
No, how about the Campaign Spending Integrity Act? It makes it so that federal office, a candidate for federal office can't use their campaign money to make payments to vendors owned by the candidate.
But what
Like
was
the
it called one more
Trump
time?
Hotel, as a random example?
Yeah, just a random example. Yeah,
Like,
so it's like when you're running your campaign, you can't say, "Oh, I'm booking my property for it," and funnel that campaign money into your pocket.
There is
I
nothing
feel like that's a
wrong.
very specific.
It's a quite nice hotel. Have you been to that hotel? Have you been to the dirtbag hotels around it?
Yeah,
Come on.
but I love those specific ones. I love them. You know what I mean? It's like nice, tight. Little,
We have the best people. They have the
Yeah,
worst
like-
people.
So all right, so talk me through like a dollop of solvency there. Like how does that help anyone at all besides like a little bit kicking in the shins the ultra powerful billionaires?
I
That's
think
good. That's a good kick. Anytime you're kicking ultra powerful
I think
billionaires,
it'll affect who runs. That's who I think it will affect. You know what I mean? Because if you're like, well, I don't get to profit from it.
the reality is the money is like the most important thing. Because if you have more money, then you can get the biggest megaphone, and the biggest megaphone out can potentially convince enough people to be persuaded. And we're in the
man,
business of persuasion.
I think so.
And so
ironic.
There are people who prove that you don't need as much. That there is like a plateau. You know, what's the Fetterman Dr. Oz example where they're both funded campaigns. One of them more through creepy means. One of them seems to be very much grassroots, and like the efficiency of one campaign is just beating out the other one despite the money. And I don't know who's actually spending more, but the reality is like a single person appears to be winning despite the fact that millions and millions of dollars are being paid. And so there is a limit to, I'm sure, like the efficiency of just amassing a large amount of money to spend on a campaign. But at some point, if you can get your message to the right people, which we're talking about micro targeting, but you can kind of micro target and just blast your message where things need.
You can't do that.
I made that up.
Yeah,
You can micro. Okay.
Yeah.
But my point is like you can get your message.
You didn't really make it up because it still doesn't exist even after you said it. So yeah.
Well,
with the loudest voice, you can reach a lot of people. So I get the point when you're going after it, Matt.
No,
and like, what's the neg? The neg is like, you are inhibiting speech.
No, the neg is that this country is perfect. Love it or leave it. Yeah.
Let's talk about the neg. Okay, the neg is like this. Apparently, this guy's a commie and a fascist and extremist fundamentalist. That's who's on the AF. The AF is a person who is just trying to take away more civil liberties right out from your vagina. That's what they're doing.
So I think that you start on the AF with a very bold case, and all of my neg cases would be the extreme fringe cases, just to throw the AF. Like, counterplan, do that, but also make it so much more extreme. Like, just every neg threat would not be to, like, fight it back.
Not substantial enough.
It would be like, no, that and 50 times more, just to kind of, like, let's really, thought experiment, stress test this thing. Because I don't think that you're going to win a lot of people over on, like, status quo, or like small change will affect good things. I just don't think that you've got a lot of ground there. So I think the affirmative side can like pretty solidly claim, if they don't have good solvency.
Tim is what we call a believer. Okay, Tim does not think the AF could do wrong. Okay, and I'm telling you, like, imagine if someone grossly oversteps your ability to politically communicate. Okay, that's not okay. And this country is all about freedom of speech, and opinions, most of all, are protected. In my opinion, I can say anything I want. I can say anything I want as long as I say that, and it's pretty much okay. So, like,
you have to start it off with all due respect, and then you can.
With all due, by the way, with all due respect, for the record.
So, okay, now that you say this, like, one of the things I think you might have to do a constitutional amendment, like, because
for what?
On the affirmative for the plan, because like on the negative, one of my things I think I might prep is like, no matter what you pass, that's the shit's going to get overturned. Like, there's too much precedent for like you. And
we only have 2 minutes. So if someone does want to run a constitutional amendment, you say that will never pass ever because you need like 66%. But hold on, go ahead. Continue.
Yeah. I don't like
continue.
The fiat argument in that one still, I think, is an appropriate use of fiat right there. Where you're like, but if they just don't do it, if they just pass a law, like I think there's a lot of
Grandmaster Flash.
Yeah, I think the
just don't do it.
Should do their work. They're on Supreme Court precedent because you could probably catch a lot of people that way. I think you can catch a lot of affirmatives.
I would blitz so much, like, of my time at solvency, like just a solvency press huge across the board, because almost anything that they do has probably been like tested and tried or thought out, or like people have published stuff on it, but it hasn't happened because it likely wouldn't have the impact. So for the example, the one of like, oh, you aren't allowed to use your own locations, as vendors or something like that. Like, all right, cool, we passed that. Now, how does the world change? At most, we have fewer psycho-billionaires running, but like, how much does that really actually make the world or make campaign better? I think I would just boil it down to grassroots level and like just solvency press every single case.
I still like solvency press. I think it's not in fashion as much, and that's a shame.
Yeah, but like,
that's where the most realistic arguments are. Yeah.
I like stating the obvious for all the people who have absolutely no idea what they're doing, like for real. If you're an LD, you're going to want to write down everything someone else says, probably on your computer if you're an LD. And
type it out on your computer. Don't write
and
it.
remember what they say, because if you win or if you lose, no matter what you do, you're going to write down all their acts and all their things they bring up and research them, because you're an LD and you're going to see that team probably again, and you're probably going to hit that plan again and that act again. So you might as well start creating your file bank on your computer, which isn't in physical box form as Jared, the ancient over here, is used to, and you're gonna start prepping. There's no excuse to lose the second time on the same thing. Oh man, where did this come from? When the other team can start. If you're on another team like this, we ran this against them 3 months ago, and they still haven't done anything about it. So we're still winning, and that's why it's not fair to them or to us for them to not keep studying. So, just start writing things down. LD, it's like a year long. So anything that's good, everyone's going to soak up. You hear something good, take their idea, run it. That's not, hey, that's my opinion.
That's America.
Yeah. It's flattery, okay?
Yeah, and that, what?
Have it in your pocket. Yeah.
Now that I think about it, that Supreme Court angle or the Supreme Court precedent from the neg side probably could lead into a topicality position. You could probably prep that out. It's like if they don't do something that requires a constitutional amendment, they lose. You know what I mean? It's like, and so.
Well, you're saying that the definition of substantially is defined as being a constitutional amendment,
of political campaigns. I think that would be the definition that you're going for. Let me take a look at that really quick.
Oh, so you think it'd be like effects topical, like whatever they do requires impossible things to happen in order for it to become topical? Like they pass some ridiculous policy? Because I don't think that would actually be non-topical in the traditional T sense.
No, what I'm doing is saying that I'm trying to force people into a constitutional amendment plan. Saying that, like they can't win unless they do a constitution.
Jared's always forcing people down there in that basement bathroom down there.
And when I'm talking about restrictions on political speech, and so that's the term, political speech. And so you talk about how, listen, they've already ruled on what counts as political speech and that you can't regulate it. So the only thing you could do is actually pass a constitutional amendment. Anything short of that is going to be fucking overturned.
That's not true. I mean, there's a whole bunch of political speech cases. Okay, you're allowed to wear, clothing that has political stuff on it, and you can wear it straight into a courthouse.
It's always protected.
And you can. I mean, well, it's not. Yeah, well, not always. I mean, if you scream fire in a Republican convention, you're gonna get in trouble. I mean, that's not protected. So, but it was political. No, I don't care. It was like endangering people's lives.
No, the political speech is uniquely protected, even among speech, which is already a protected type of activity. So, political speech in particular.
But what I'm saying to you, Jared, is a constitutional amendment is one way to modify it. But there are already Supreme Court rulings amongst probably a million statutes out there and codes of cities and states that restrict speech in certain ways, like incitement of riots and well, I mean, okay, I mean now I can go on West.
Yeah. I got a bit of background on Supreme Court precedent, so
go read the actual Citizens United rulings. Go read the opinions. Like, get your lit base solid. You're in LD. There's an expectation that you
go read.
Yeah,
because
go learn to read.
A minute ago with about how
why are you watching podcasts? You're supposed to be reading cases.
So
you come back when you got a lit base.
There's a link. We posted it 20 minutes ago.
So if it favors the affirmative, this is one little sort of like finger hold into a negative strategy.
Finger holds of sorts.
To political speech. All right, everybody. Hey, listen, we will see you again next week on whatever topic we decide to talk about. Okay. All right. Yeah, it's Tim, Matt, and Jared. We'll see you then.